your University of Missouri. It may be 4 hours from you. Actually, it was about 3 hours and 20 minutes. We did pretty good in a big old white van. Coming down the highway, I got a group of police spotters driving with me. And they're really good at it. I don't know how they honed their skill, but they were picking up on cars that I had no idea had law enforcement officers associated with them. And we made really good time. I don't know how they'll do in the dark, but we're going to give it a try and see. So at Mizzou, we've been a university since 1839. We're the first public university west of the Mississippi River in the Louisiana Purchase. In 1870, we became a land-grant university, the land-grant university for the state. That meant agriculture became part of our core mission. We added a Hatch Act, we added research, we added a Smith-Lieber Act, which added extension, and that's why we're here tonight. But the first responsibility we've always had, that we continue to have, is educating young people. And we've got 35,441 young people that are at Mizzou pursuing their higher education degree. We've got students from all 114 counties from the state of Missouri are at Mizzou working on their degree. We have students from 49 states and Kansas working at Mizzou. Are there any Kansas fans here tonight? I told the kids on the way down, if we have Kansas fans here, we have to go really, really slow so they can keep up. So we'll be able to make good time. We'll be able to roll. Actually, it was one of the most interesting things about moving from North Carolina to Missouri. When I got here, people were talking about the border war. And I thought it was an athletic. KU versus Mizzou was a border war. There was a war. People would stand in Kansas and throw dynamite across the border into Missouri, and we would pick it up and light it and throw it back. That's how they teach it in Columbia, Missouri. I'll tell you that. Actually, KU's football team didn't win one game last year. Not one. 0. And now they're bragging about how good their football team is academically. They just announced that half their football team are making straight A's. And they think by the end of this spring semester, the other half will be able to draw their line straight up. They can make straight A's too. How about that? Huh? That's pretty exciting. Holy moly. We got a history there, right? How many of you remember the 5th down play? MU versus Colorado. You remember that? Bill McCartney was the head football coach of Colorado at the time. He was a Mizzou alum. After that game, you know the story, right? Colorado was number 1 in the nation. They came into Missouri. They were playing us. We were winning. They had first and goal. Number 1 team in the country. We were nobody. We were nobody. We were winning. They had first and goal from the 1-yard line. They ran it up the middle. We stopped them dead. Second and goal. They ran it up the middle. We stopped them cold. Third and goal. They ran it up the middle. We stopped them again cold. 4th down and goal. What do they do? They ran it up the middle. What do? We stopped them. Our ball, right? Nope. Their ball. We had a KU officiating crew. They gave them 5 downs. Couldn't count to 4. They scored touchdowns. They went on to be co-national champions. After that game, Bill McCartney went into the press room and complained about the AstroTurf. It was slick. Our boys couldn't get good traction. Didn't seem to be affecting our guys one bit, one iota. So what do? We pulled up the astroturf. We put down natural grass. That's right. It's hard to grow natural grass at the bottom of a pit. That's 2 stories down. So we pulled the natural grass up. We put down field turf. Colorado called to complain. When we put the astroturf back down, where will our cheerleaders graze now that you don't have the natural grass? We try to be good neighbors. In fact, as bad as we hate Kansas now, if you're a KU graduate and you come to our campus, if you put your diploma in your dashboard, you can park in any handicapped parking spot. It's okay to laugh in it. Feels pretty good. It's good to see Scott Brown here tonight. So I'm vice provost at your University of Missouri. And that means I'm the guy that goes to work every day to make sure that we don't lose sight of the most important people on our campus, are the young men and the young women who families trust us with. When Keith Swinky sends his son to my university, Keith and Vicki say, Jim, I trust you. And I tell him we're going to do everything we can to honor that trust. When David and Fran sent Maddie to Mizzou, I can look David in the eye and say, man, I'm going to do everything I can to honor your trust. And that's what we're here about tonight. I want you to know what we're doing to honor your trust. We've got the highest student success rates we've ever had in our history. Our freshmen stay at a higher rate than they've ever stayed, and our graduation rate is the highest that we've ever had, and it's the highest for any public university in the state of Missouri. We work hard at that. The number one reason students leave our campus is because they can't afford to stay. They run out of a scholarship. They lose a scholarship. Mom and Dad, during the economic downturn, parents were losing jobs and not able to let their sons and daughters stay. It's the number one reason. So when you're here giving students, deserving students, scholarships to go, and not just to Mizzou, but to anywhere, that makes a huge difference for those students and their families. And oh, by the way, when these young people come up here, they're my kids. And they're your kids. Because we all make an investment in public higher education. We're all making an investment in their experience and their ability to go to Mizzou. Because without the support that you give us, or that we give to public higher education, be it Missouri State or Missouri Southern or SEMO, it doesn't matter. All of those students attending those universities depend on us to make that investment so that they can afford to go. And that is key to a land-grant university. You know, we've got Thomas Jefferson's grave marker sits on the east side of our Francis Quadrangle. Why does Thomas Jefferson, why would his family give us a grave marker? Well, when he died, he wrote his epitaph before he died. And it was farmer, it was author of the Declaration of Independence, it was father of the University of Virginia, but he never put being president. He said that wasn't an important contribution that he made. In fact, he was proudest. The thing he was proudest of was being the father of the University of Virginia. And do you know why Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, was so proud of that contribution? Because he felt that public higher education was essential if we were going to take care of this thing that he helped create, which is a democracy. That uneducated folks can't take care of a government that's for and by the people. That's why we make this investment. That's why we make an investment in K-12. That's why this is important. Now, Eldon said that. So, Jim,
Yeah.
You don't raise many beef cows to be dairy cows. I'm just going to say. Not that I want to insult everybody here tonight, but I'm just saying. Well, if you grind her up and put enough ketchup on her, she'll eat them. Boy, I'm telling you. I teach. I have a full-time administrative role, but I told my provost, there's no way I'm going to get out of the classroom. And so I've got students here tonight that are in my class this semester. And I've got students who have been in my class. They've all heard Scott Brown speak. In fact, some of them heard Scott Brown's lecture twice this last week. I asked, hey, I'm going to Monette, and Eldon wants to know about how the future of the beef industry looks and where the future leaders are. Anybody interested in going? I drove a 12-passenger van, had two kids driving themselves, and I left students in Columbia, Missouri that wanted to be here tonight to talk with you about, hey, guess what? We're on it. We're excited about the beef industry. We're excited about the future of the beef industry, and we're getting ready up in the zoo. We've got kids from right down in this part of the state, and we got kids from all over the state here with us tonight. And so what I've asked them to do is I want them to come up, and one by one they're going to tell you who they are, where they're from, what their interest in the beef cattle industry is, and what they're doing to get ready, and in some cases where the competition might be or what might prevent them from being able to get there. Because I think that's one of the things as an industry, all of agriculture, not just the beef industry, but all of agriculture, we need to think, what's going to prevent the young people from doing this that we've done for a lifetime? What's going to be their barrier? You ready for this? And oh, by the way, I had one of these young men respond, Dr. Spain, I'd be honored to go. I'd be honored to go. And this asked the former director of the Department of Agriculture. I'd be honored to go. They got in the van this afternoon at 1 o'clock, a crowded van. We were sitting next to each other, weren't we? We drove 3.5 hours. They're each going to talk 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to get back in the van and go home tonight because some of them have genetics in the morning at 8 o'clock. And that's how we're going to roll. Because we take it serious. Y'all ready? You interested in this? Yeah. These are your kids. Let's bring them up. You ready? You going to use your outside voice? You want to talk to the mic?
I got my North Carolina jokes in on the way down here, so I guess I can spare those for Dr. Spain now. My name's Garth Gatson. I'm from Vandalia, Missouri originally. Grew up on kind of a classic Missouri farm. We've got beef cows at home, but we've got just enough that everybody still has a job in town too. Both my parents work at school. So I grew up around the industry, but not in a full-time kind of way. But it was something I really liked and something I wanted to know more about. So at the university, I'm a senior animal science major. Be finished in May. And when I'm done with that, I'm looking at a few different opportunities. I'm going to start by going to graduate school. I think it's a little different than what you'll hear from most of these guys tonight, but it's one avenue of opportunity I see to help deepen my knowledge in particular areas. You know, I've done a number of different things to kind of broaden the scope of my knowledge as I've gone through the university. I was on a meats judging team, saw a lot of the country, saw a different part of the industry than I'd ever been exposed to before. You know, I'd been around cows my whole life, but I'd never seen the inside of a packing plant and didn't really have any concept of what that was like. You know, we often talk in the beef industry, we give consumers a hard time, say, oh, they think their food comes from the grocery store. Well, I would challenge you that a lot of us think our calves go to the sale barn, and that's not quite true. That, you know, there's a lot more to the story to that. So that's a lot of what I've been trying to gain through my time at college is seeing the whole story, seeing the whole picture, learning about parts I'd never been exposed to. Dr. Spain wanted us to talk about challenges a little bit, and I think you've actually heard about those tonight. Dr. Scott Brown talked about declining beef cattle prices and some different challenges we're going to face in the future. John Clybaker talked about the possibility of rising interest, and that's something that people my age see as they're looking to get into the industry. The last few years for cow-calf guys, there's been a lot of different things that would work. When feeder cattle prices are, $230 on the board, there's a lot. You can make a lot of mistakes and get away with them. And I think maybe that time is kind of drawn to a close. And so I don't believe the opportunities are by any means drawn to a close. I just think that we're going to have to be a little more selective in what opportunities we pursue in the future. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to gain through my time at the university, and what I'm hoping to learn through graduate school is get a sense of what opportunities out there that are overlooked that will still work, but just take a little bit more insight, a little bit more effort on behalf of producers. A quote I think is really good. It says, "The future will always belong to those who recognize opportunities before they become obvious." And I think even the obvious opportunities have been working really good for us the past few years. But I think in the years to come, it's gonna take being able to recognize some opportunities that are maybe a little tougher to see. So maybe that's a challenge for producers entering the industry, but maybe that's also a case for education, that through some of the type of experiences I've had at the university, through classroom experiences, I've had Dr. Spain's class, I've had Dr. Brown's class, and I've learned things through that. They're going to help me to be able to recognize opportunities and take advantage of them that maybe I wouldn't have been able to before. Is that kind of what you wanted, Dr. Spain?
My name's Blake McDonald. I'm from Sullivan, Missouri, so a couple hours northeast of here. Like Garth, I'm a senior animal science major at the university, and I too grew up on a family farming operation, mostly cow-calf. We raise Angus and Simmental cows and sell 15 or 20 bulls to local commercial guys a year. And I guess I grew up around them and kind of had a love for the business and the people in the business, and grew up showing cattle, and I guess my whole life, all I've ever wanted to do is continue to be in that industry. And like Garth was kind of talking about, I figured I'd almost describe what the university has done for me as opposed to what I'm going to do for the industry, because I think the university deserves the credit. I was on a meats judging team with Garth, and then I also judged livestock my senior year. I think both of those are great opportunities. I saw everything from the most elite seed stock operations in the country to mom and pop people around Columbia. I was on commercial cow-calf operations and stockers and feeders, and I saw packing houses that put the whole industry in perspective for me. And I think that for any of you guys that have kids or grandkids that are getting close to the college age and UFFA kids, I think the judging programs really put a huge impact on my life, and I would encourage you, if you have a passion for the industry, to do that. And not just the judging programs, but all the other organizations that our university has. We have a block and bridle club. We have some collegiate cattlewomen here that do all kinds of stuff. And there's all kinds of trips and conventions and weekends and field days and all sorts of things that our university does for people. And I think the thing that most goes underrated is people like Dr. Spain. The faculty at our place is second to none, and they truly care about us. And not just the faculty as far as teachers, but the employees at the farms and in the labs. And then another thing we all take for granted is the group of people I'm up here with. None of us are from the same town, or very few of us. Probably wouldn't know any of them if I hadn't come to the university. And I think that that's something that that we really don't appreciate as much as we ought to. And like Garth, I guess I'm going to continue to try to learn about our industry. I'm going to do a master's program in ruminant nutrition. And everybody asks what I want to do with that, and to be honest, I don't quite know. I just know that I want to deal with beef cows and beef cow people. And I guess I'm going to turn it over to my peers here, and I just want to thank you guys for having us down here. It's been a really good time.
My name is Cole Lowry. I'm a sophomore animal science major at the University of Missouri. I'm from Joplin, went to a small Catholic high school. This FFA talk and all this 4-H stuff, I really didn't get to experience. I wanted to, but it just wasn't offered. So once I got the opportunity to come to the university, I saw animal science as something that I was really intrigued. this past winter break, I had the opportunity to go down to Austin, Texas. I was on an internship with a cattle company who ran 47 Wagyu cattle, and the goal operation was on AIing and embryo transferring. With my time down there, the guy I was down there with said, hey, listen here, if you take A, B, and C, which was artificial insemination course, embryo transfer, and palpation course, we'll hire you back on once you graduate. So that being said, I'm in the process of doing that at the university right now, and potentially have a job waiting for me once I graduate. Thank you for your time.
I'm Robert Olgen. I'm from Lockwood, Missouri, not too far from here, about an hour from here. And I grew up on a cattle farm operation. My family raises crops, and we raise mostly beef cattle. We raise Angus, Charolais, Black Baldies, Charlotte, just you name it. And growing up, I mean, I always thought working on a cattle farm is just, go out, throw some hay out there and feed the cows. But my parents always preached to me that it's not just that. You need to learn a lot more than that. Go to school. And my older brother, I'm kind of following his footsteps. He grew up on the farm with me, and he went to Mizzou also and graduated an animal science degree. And Mizzou has just been such a good experience for me, just my 2 years I've been there. And being in high school, I was involved in FFA, 4-H, all that good stuff. And I mean, it was just a really good experience to get me going. And once I got to Mizzou, all the professors and everyone there, and Dr. Spain, everyone's so helpful. I mean, goes the extra mile to help you get extra understand stuff. And while I'm at school, I'm part-time working for a big ranch up there, Seabar Ranch, and they're a pretty well-known ranch up there. And I just started here a couple weeks ago, and when we run about 500 head of cows and calves, and I went up there, and they've got feedlots with these cows in there, and I was just so excited to see all this. And I was in there probably about an hour, and they must have had 5 or 6 calves drop within that hour, and it's just nice to see everything synchronized so close together and everything, and just kind of makes you want to expand and want to be something kind of like that and further my education at Mizzou like that. So thank you.
All right, well, I'm Isabel Mitchell, and unlike our previous speakers, I'm not a farm girl. I didn't grow up on a farm. My dad did, and so growing up, I always heard the stories. But my first real experience with farming was when I joined the FFA, and that was my first kind of real knowledge about what farming really entails. And then about 3 years ago, I went out and worked for my cousin on his cattle farm. And he sent me out in the field with a feed sack and said, well, get those cows up and we're going to work them in the morning. And, we had a couple horses when I was growing up, so I learned that you can't get cows up quite the way you get a horse out of the pasture. So that was a steep learning curve. And then I learned about corn gluten and soy hulls and what those look like. And so then when I got to college, I learned about how agriculture is a world thing. Going to Mizzou is really, the education is second to none. They teach you not only about on the farm, physically, the labor and what it takes to feed cows, it's how it affects the country and the world as a whole. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you don't realize when you're just on the farm is where your beef goes or where your corn goes, and how that's really it's not just affected by what you're doing on your farm specifically. I'm a sophomore animal science major. I guess I kind of forgot that little introduction. I'm interested in going into veterinary medicine, so I want to be a large animal veterinarian. And I've shadowed a vet at a stockyard, and so I got a lot of that experience there and that physical labor, and I liked that a lot. I'm really interested in reproduction and nutrition, so I guess we'll see where that goes. I helped my cousin do AI this summer. And so that was a great experience. And I guess I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Boatwright. I'm from Sedalia, Missouri. I am a senior studying animal science at the University of Missouri. I grew up on a small family farm. We raised Red Angus, Poll Hereford seed stock. We had some Boer goats. Those were always good for laughs and problems, neighbors' trees. It was great. What I learned from that, though, was a foundation that growing up on a farm gave me. It gave me a different perspective on life. It gave me a perspective on hard work and what it takes to survive. It gave me an opportunity just to learn about problem solving, how to interact with people, how to interact with animals, perspective on where my food came from. And I think that's the driver for my passion for animal agriculture is that I want my family someday to have those same opportunities, to grow up on a farm and learn those things that I learned growing up. And I think that's the biggest thing animal agriculture has to offer to everyone involved in it, is what it can bring up for the next generation. Whether they pursue animal agriculture or not, I think it's one of the best bases for a child, the best environment for a family to grow up in. We talked a little bit about the challenges the beef agriculture faces, and there are many. One of them is startup cost. What does it look like for a young person to start in it? I think some of that is how do we address that? Well, we could just dive all in, or we could take a different perspective at it. One thing that I've looked at doing is partnering with producers, is meeting people, is learning about and from the people who have made it work. There's a lot of different perspectives. There's a lot of different ways to succeed in the beef cattle industry. And one thing I made it a point to do, using contacts that I made through the university and through growing up on a farm at home, is to seek out those people who have made it, who found a way to make it work, who've looked and seen different opportunities that a lot of other people pass by, to use those opportunities to build that base, to build an opportunity to build a farm on. Another major challenge we face is people being against animal agriculture. We think animal rights activists, we think people that don't understand where our food comes from. I think that is one of the greatest opportunities that animal agriculture has right now. We have people that are hungry to know where their food comes from. I don't think that's a challenge. It is a challenge, but it's not a formidable one. It's one that is an opportunity for us to reach out to that consumer, to build a loyalty base, and to show them where their food really comes from and give them a passion for why we do what we do. I'm excited about agriculture. I'm glad to be at the university, and these guys have really talked a lot about what that offers. The students that I meet, the producers that I meet, people that teach us and really pour their lives into ours, showing us how to make it work. And I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Hi, my name is Catherine Sharp. I'm from south of St. Joseph, Missouri. I'm a small town called DeKalb. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's about 200 people. It's really small. I grew up on a diverse farm. We raise hogs, cattle, soybeans, corn, and wheat. I will say I love pigs and I love cattle just the same. We raise Angus cattle. What probably drove my interest into animal science was when I was little, I would always go with my dad to the St. Joseph stockyards, and there I just loved being there. When I was little, I told them that I wanted to be the stockyards manager. So surprise to my dad, so he's always like, oh, you should be a teacher. No, I want to be in animal agriculture because I think it's an important part of our country and the way our whole system works. Let's see. I've been studying a lot of classes about animal agriculture, and I would like to learn more about business and stuff, but I would also like to get into management and maybe do some reproductive physiology. And the thing that surprised me at Mizzou was I never really thought it was an agricultural college. So when I went there, I looked around, I saw people in boots and pickup trucks. That was not my first thought when I went to Mizzou. So I'm really glad to get to know these people, and I think the teachers that we have that are incredible, and you guys are great. You guys are resilient, and that's a tough industry, but you guys can do it, and we're here too. Thank you.
My name's Alex Anderson. I'm from Trenton, Missouri, a little town up by the Iowa border. I kind of want to touch on something she just mentioned. When I went to my small community college there in Trenton called North Central Missouri College, and it's a real rural town. I didn't grow up on a farm, but everyone in my class did, so I pretty much spent as much time on all those farms put together as a normal kid would if they had to do chores every morning. So I went to this small college, 1,600 kids. Most of them came there to get some kind of animal science classes, at least, if nothing else. And I had 2 animal science instructors there. I didn't really know them that well after 2 years. And I have probably 7 or 8 professors at MU, which I was very skeptical about when I went to MU, thinking, I'm never going to get to know any of my professors. This is going to be a terrible thing for me because I'm from such a small town. I was really intimidated. I am just beyond myself that every single one of my professors who have 200 other kids in all my classes most of the time know my name when I walk down the hall, and that is it just blows my mind. They all literally care what you're going to do for a living, and they want to help you get there. I was just shocked. I still can't. I'm beside myself that these people can care that much. And Dr. Spain, he will make us roll on the floor laughing every day to get us started. And I don't know very many teachers that will get you wanting to come to their class. And I love every class I've had with him, and all the instructors are that way. But anyway, I love MU. I couldn't believe that it turned into be such an agricultural-based school, and I think the animal science program there is just above all the other avenues at MU. But they also give us opportunities. Everywhere we look, they're saying, hey, there's a job fair this week. Go to that. They do that over. See, what am I mean, every class period, he does stuff like that. I mean, how do you deal with that? So there's job fairs, there's help nights if you need help on homework or a test coming up. These animal science instructors make sure we succeed. I took advantage of that career fair the first couple weeks of the first semester after I transferred from North Central Missouri College. I received an internship offer to JBS USA 5 Rivers in western Kansas. So I'm going to spend my summer running cows, 40,000 plus. And I've never got to be on an operation so big, and I've heard from all my friends who went there that you will get a job offer when you leave there. And that's just an unbelievable thing to know. Another opportunity I took advantage of, I'll make this real brief. I'm in Mizzou's Block and Bridle Club, and they had a national convention trip to Oklahoma and Tulsa. And OSU hosted it, but it was in Tulsa. And they showed us how diverse things can be from one state to another. And I mean, Oklahoma touches us, but yet their way of raising beef cows is completely different. And so if we can take everything from all over the country and all these opportunities that Mizzou gives us to try to broaden our view of how the beef industry works, hopefully we can make something great. So believe in our young kids. I mean, this group right here is going to go far, and it's all because of people like everyone sitting at these tables in front of us. So thanks for your time, and thanks for letting us come visit with you tonight.
Hello, my name is Kendra Stinson, and I'm a senior animal science at the university. I grew up on a large farm in Prairie Hill, Missouri. We have 3,000 acres of row crops, 100 head of cattle, cow-calf operation, and me and my little brother partner, and we have about 15 sows that we sell for butcher hogs and show hogs to the local community. And after graduation, I want to be a beef herd manager for a larger operation in the Midwest. And right when I said that, I know you guys are thinking, oh my God, this little blonde girl, she wants to be a beef herd manager? Are you kidding me? Seriously? But that's just something that I have to overcome, and the women up here have to overcome, and I know the women out in the crowd have or will have to overcome that. And at the university, you know, we strive to look good on paper. You know, we all are in different organizations and things like that, but we also try to work on our hands-on abilities. I'm in beef production right now, and last week we went out on the farm and worked cattle. Like, that's awesome. So we really strive for that at the University of Missouri. But switching gears a little bit, I think one of the challenges that we face is the generation gap. And I know a lot of people have talked about that lately, but you guys are getting a little bit older, you know. Since I've been here and walked in the door, I've heard 3 different people talk about retirement. You know, that's pretty scary for us standing up here, you know. My grandpa's in that position. In a couple years, hopefully I'll be able to take over our farm, me and my younger brother, and that is scary. You know, I graduate in May, and I'm pretty scared, you know. But that's just something we have to overcome, and we want to learn from you guys. Hopefully in 10 years I'll be sitting in your guys' seats and listening to some younger people up here talking about how they want to improve agriculture. So just be a listening ear, and thank you guys for letting us come talk up here. I know all of us are very honored. Go Tigers.
All right. My name is Connor Locke. I grew up on a fairly decently sized cattle operation. If any of you are familiar with Circle A, that's home to me. And growing up in that environment, I would always, as you do, go out with your dad to help work cattle. And I'd always irritate him by asking me so many questions. And now that I'm at the university, I'm able to answer those questions in a better way and understand them better than an 8-year-old can understand. And through asking those questions, I'm able to, figure out what the heck do I want to do with my life? And the answer to that, as I get to know more and more, seems to be research, because that's what's going to lead the way in the future, finding what better ways we can do what we do now, what we need to do differently. Because I'm not thinking 5 years into the future, 10 years into the future. I'm thinking, what are our grandchildren going to have to do to make sure that this region of the country stays cattle country? And through my education at the University of Missouri, I hope to be able to answer those questions so that our industry remains at least as it is, if not even better, in the future. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Caitlin Epperson, and unlike a lot of these other experiences, I kind of have a little bit of a different story. I grew up in Columbia, Missouri, right at the heart of Mizzou, and my agricultural education didn't really start until high school. But after becoming a member of the local FFA chapter and coming to Mizzou, and now I'm a sophomore animal science major, I have a lot to speak from my knowledge. I'm learning every day, and I appreciate those newfound skills. And I'm sure, as you've been hearing, Mizzou is a great opportunity to learn, especially in the basis of agriculture. But hopefully you all realize how much you make a difference. And not only as individuals, but as the beef community, you all make a huge difference for us young people that are coming into the agricultural world and learning all the time. And your wisdom, your kindness, and your faith in this generation to continue beef farming makes all the difference. Without your guys' support, none of us up here may be as confident in continuing this industry as we are. And so I thank you guys for this opportunity and for your faith.
All right, my name is Maddie Grant, and Dr. Spain has told me to be brief. So I grew up on a small cow-calf and row crop operation just east of Columbia. I've had the privilege to know Dr. Spain since I was probably about 2 years old. We go to church together. I grew up in an ag background and went through the 4-H FFA track. And now that I'm at Mizzou, a year ago this past January, I started working in a beef nutrition lab on campus with Dr. Curley, who some of you all may know. And I kind of fell in love right there, both with the research side and with the nutrition side. And so that's kind of where I'm looking to go. I'm looking to go into, for sure, get my master's, maybe my PhD. Not sure if I'll end up in industry back at home or in academia. But the way I'm preparing myself for that is obviously working in a lab, and then also I'm involved in Mizzou's Collegiate Cattlewomen on campus. It's probably the best organization I've become involved in on campus. Me and Caitlin actually just got back a couple of weeks ago from San Diego, and that was being at the NCBA conference. Was one of the coolest things in the world. We get to spend a whole morning at Cattlemen's College listening to talks from professors and industry leaders all over the nation, just telling us and other producers what they can do better. And I think that's really important, that not just producers learn more, but also the students that are going to be filling those producer spots in the next 5, 10, 20 years, because I know the average producer age is up in the 50s these days, and most of us are barely 20, so there's a pretty good gap that we've got to fill there in the next few years. I appreciate you all being here, and thanks for supporting us.
working, isn't it? Right? And it's because we get great young people. We get incredible young people that come from incredible families. I'm proud to be at your University of Missouri. I'm proud that these are my kids. And I hope tonight when you go home, you'll be maybe just a little prouder and have a little better understanding of what's going on in your University of Missouri. Because this is what happens each and every day. And I don't think we could ask for anything better than that. Is the beef industry and the future of the beef industry in good hands? Now we just need to do our part to help get it from our hands to their hands so that they can do their work and they can create their future. And that's why we're here tonight. Eldon, I appreciate you inviting us down. I appreciate the committee thinking about this as a topic, as an issue, because it is a topic, but it's not an issue. We got it covered. We just need to work to make sure that we can get that talent into the places where it can make a difference for them. Thanks for having us. We're going to hang around for just a few minutes, and then we do have to boogie up the road because that 8 o'clock class is early, and Dr. Lamberson expects them to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning.